The flickering fluorescent lights of Observation Post Kepler-186f hummed a monotonous dirge. A constant reminder of Dr. Aris Thorne's isolation. He was the sole inhabitant. A sentinel in the vast cosmic ocean, tasked with monitoring a sector of space deemed strategically insignificant by the United Earth Consortium. The mission was simple: observe, record, and report. Yet, Thorne couldn't shake the feeling that he was missing something. That the silence of deep space was a deceptive mask concealing something ancient and unknowable. Days bled into weeks. Then months, marked only by the rhythmic pulse of the station's life support systems and the cold, unwavering gaze of distant stars. He occupied his time with routine maintenance, data analysis, and the occasional philosophical musing recorded in his personal log. Each entry a testament to his slowly eroding sanity. He felt like a ghost haunting a machine hurtling through the void. The anomaly announced itself subtly. A faint distortion in the background radiation readings, easily dismissed as a sensor glitch. Thorne, however, possessed an intuition honed by years of staring into the abyss. A sense that something was profoundly wrong. He recalibrated the instruments, ran diagnostics, and cross-referenced the data with existing astronomical surveys. The results were unsettling. A localized region of space exhibiting a complete absence of measurable energy, a null field. It defied all known laws of physics. A tear in the fabric of reality itself. The phenomenon was small, barely registering on the station's sensors, but its existence sent a chill down Thorne's spine. It was like staring into a void, a place where the universe simply ceased to exist. He spent the next few days consumed by the anomaly, poring over theoretical physics papers, running simulations, and desperately trying to find an explanation. The more he learned, the less he understood. The null field seemed to warp space-time around it, creating bizarre optical distortions visible even through the station's viewport. Stars flickered and vanished, replaced by patches of absolute blackness that seemed to suck the light out of the universe. The station itself began to creak and groan, its metallic shell protesting against some unseen force. Thorne started experiencing vivid nightmares, filled with geometric shapes and impossible colors. Dreams that left him sweating and disoriented. He felt the presence of something else, something vast and incomprehensible, lurking just beyond the boundaries of human perception. The hallucinations began gradually. Subtle shifts in his perception of reality. Shadows danced in the corners of his eyes. Whispers echoed in the silence of the station. And familiar objects seemed to morph into grotesque parodies of themselves. Thorne initially attributed these experiences to sleep deprivation and stress. But the hallucinations grew increasingly vivid and disturbing. He saw faces in the swirling patterns of the station's ventilation system, heard voices speaking in a language he didn't understand, and felt phantom touches on his skin. The line between reality and illusion blurred, leaving him questioning his own sanity. Was he truly alone on Kepler-186f? Or was something else sharing his isolated existence? The null field's influence extended beyond mere visual and auditory hallucinations. Thorne began experiencing physical symptoms, intense headaches, nausea, and a persistent feeling of unease. His sense of time became distorted, hours stretching into days, then collapsing into mere minutes. He lost track of his schedule, forgetting to eat, sleep, or perform essential maintenance tasks. The station, once a pristine bastion of human technology, began to decay around him, mirroring his own mental and physical deterioration. The plants in the hydroponics bay withered and died. The air filters sputtered and coughed, and the lights flickered erratically. The station felt like a tomb, slowly suffocating him with its cold, metallic embrace. One night, Thorne awoke to find himself standing in the station's observation deck, staring out at the null field. He had no memory of how he got there. A disturbing gap in his consciousness. As he gazed into the void, He saw something move, a vast, amorphous shape lurking within the darkness. It was unlike anything he had ever seen. A swirling mass of colors and textures that defied description. The shape pulsed and writhed, its form constantly shifting and changing. As if composed of infinite possibilities, Thorne felt a sense of profound dread. A primal fear that resonated deep within his soul. He knew, with absolute certainty, that he was not meant to see this thing, that its existence was a violation of the natural order. The null field began to expand, consuming more and more of the surrounding space. The optical distortions intensified, warping the stars into grotesque caricatures of themselves. The station groaned and shuddered, its structural integrity compromised by the unseen forces at play. Thorne found himself trapped in a nightmare. Unable to escape the ever-encroaching darkness, he tried to contact Earth. But the station's communication systems were failing, its signal weakened by the null field's interference. He was alone, adrift in a sea of cosmic horror. With no hope of rescue, his only companion was the monstrous entity lurking within the void, a silent observer of his slow descent into madness. Driven to the brink of despair, Thorne decided to take drastic action. He hypothesized that the null field might be a localized manifestation of a larger, more fundamental phenomenon, a tear in the fabric of reality that connected this universe to another. He theorized that he might be able to stabilize the field, or even close it, by overloading the station's main reactor, creating a controlled energy surge that would counteract the anomaly's effects. It was a desperate gamble, a last-ditch attempt to save himself and prevent the null field from spreading further. He knew that the plan was incredibly dangerous, that it could easily destroy the station and everything on board, including himself, but he had nothing to lose. He initiated the reactor overload sequence, his hands trembling as he entered the final command. The station shuddered violently, its lights flickering and dying. Alarms blared, warning of imminent catastrophe. Thorne watched as the reactor's power levels climbed exponentially, the energy surging through the station's systems like a raging torrent. He felt a surge of exhilaration, a sense of purpose that had been absent for so long. He was finally taking control, fighting back against the encroaching darkness. But as the reactor reached critical mass, something unexpected happened. The null field pulsed with a blinding light, and the amorphous shape within the void began to coalesce, taking on a more defined form.